Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ANGIE podcast, a podcast where we talk about issues around targeted drug delivery. I am Maria Vliora, a molecular biologist, and I will be hosting this podcast today. I'm particularly excited today to be joined by Professor Maria Blanco-Prieto, a full-time professor in the Department of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Technology at University of Navarra, who has recently been appointed a president of the European Federation of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Professor Blanco is focusing on the development of nanodrugs and for the treatment of cancer, and specifically on childhood cancer. Hello, Professor. Nice to have you here with us.
Nice to be with you. Yeah.
So to start with, would you like to tell us a few things about you, your background, and how you decided to work on targeted drug delivery and nanomedicine?
Yes, I studied pharmacy in Santiago de Compostela in Spain, and then I did my PhD with Patrick Couvreur, that it's a nano-oncologist internationally recognized. And after the PhD, I did a postdoc at ETH in Zurich. And how I did decide to work on nanomedicine was mainly because of the PhD, because I stay in contact with Patrick Couvreur over the years, and it marked me a lot. I like it very much what I did in my PhD, that it was nanomedicine, a nanodrug for Alzheimer. And then I decided to continue with nanomedicine also during the PhD, and then I was appointed as professor at the University of Navarra, and I started my own group, my own research group on nanomedicine and target drug delivery, mainly on cancer, as you said, Maria, but also on regenerative medicine for brain and cardiac tissue.
Great, what a journey. I mean, you have done a lot of things, and today, I know that you're working on a very interesting project that we have talked in a previous meeting for the ANGIE project. Would you like to tell us a few things about the current project you're working on?
So one of the projects that I'm working on is nanomedicine to, as you said, childhood cancer, pediatric cancer. And we are encapsulating chemotherapeutic drugs into nanoparticles to target to the cancer cells and not to the, of course, sparing the healthy ones. And mainly we are working into type of cancer. One is osteosarcoma, that is a cancer for the bones in childs, and neuroblastoma, that is a cancer that starts in childs less than 2 years old. So what we are trying to do is to encapsulate these drugs that they are very toxic for the kids, and to avoid the toxicity, or at least to decrease it a lot, because as you might know, the childs, they have a life expectancy very high. And even if they get cured for cancer when they are childs, then when they are old, like 30 or 40 years old, they get much problem in the heart or in the kidneys or in the lungs because of the toxicity they got from these drugs when they were kids. So what we are trying to do is to avoid this toxicity using nanomedicine.
That is very, very interesting. And do you have any preliminary results that you could share with us about this project?
In osteosarcoma, we have more results than in neuroblastoma, that the in vivo part is currently being performed. But in osteosarcoma, with the nanoparticles we develop, they decrease the toxicity. But one of the best things, or the most interesting result we got, is that the nanoparticles decrease the primary tumor, but also they inhibit the metastasis in the lungs, because osteosarcoma is in the bones, but the metastasis go to the lungs, or start in the lungs. So with our nanomedicine, what we could show, at least in animal models, in mouses, the metastasis in the lung, they were really inhibited compared to the free treatment. So we were very happy about this result, that we decreased not only the toxicity, but we could inhibit the primary tumor and also to stop the metastasis.
So are you planning to have any in vivo experiments for osteosarcoma as well in the future?
For neuroblastoma, you mean?
For
because
neuroblastoma, yes, for osteosarcoma, you already have.
yes, we are currently doing. You know, we already developed another kind of nanomedicine, and we are now performing the in vivo experiment in animal models. So we will have the result maybe in, I don't know, 3 months or so on, because we have to process all the tissue and all the results we have. Yeah.
So do you have any specific way, if you can share, about delivering the nanocarriers to the point of interest?
I don't know if I got properly you mean if we target the nanoparticles to the, yeah. So at the moment, what we did with this project is a passive targeting, you know, because of the IPR effect. But indeed, we are planning to label the particles with antibodies or with specific nanobodies, even to send it to the tumor cells. And to see if we have a more even a better interesting result with these nanoparticles. But at the moment, as I told you, it was just a passive targeting. We took advantage of the IPR effect, and we have seen interesting results. Yeah. But we are planning what you said, Maria. We are planning to target specifically to the tumor cells.
That is great. I mean, it is very interesting, and it is going to produce very helpful results for the future.
Hopefully. We hope so.
So, in a more general aspect, how do you think that nanomedicine has revolutionized drug delivery? I mean, in the past years, drug delivery was a very vague thing. I mean, targeting a very specific point was very difficult. Do you think that nanomedicine has brought a revolution in this part?
I think yes. And you know, I think it was very revolutionary to have these COVID vaccines with nanoparticles, you know. For me, it's before and after almost of COVID, because if we didn't have these nanoparticles, these lipid nanoparticles, this vaccine would never work, because this RNA, it will be degraded, as you know, probably, and packaging this RNA into the nanoparticles, we have in very short time very good results, you know. And for COVID, it was so. I think from now, nanomedicine will work in many other disease, not only cancer, also regenerative disease, and I think personalized medicine or precision medicine, you can do it with nanomedicine. And for instance, you can target the nanoparticles to the cancer cells and sparing the healthy one. For I don't know, for even if we talk about personalized medicine, you can do a genetic profile of the person with cancer, of the patient, and then package in the nanomedicine this specific RNA against these genes that you want to target. So I think to summarize, I think it's a revolution, the nanomedicine from now, also in the past, but as I told you, I think from now it will be even higher, and that we will have many drugs in the market. And if you see, there is many clinical trials also with, at the moment with nanomedicine. There is hundreds of clinical trials already with nanoparticles for several drugs, and mainly in cancer, but also in other drugs, as I told you.
There are a lot of clinical trials, but to be honest, the last few years I have been reading a lot of papers coming out with clinical trials and everything, but the problem that I see is that we do not have actual application of targeted drug delivery. Is this going to be, do you think it is going to be something that in the next few years could be incorporated in as a daily routine in medicine?
I hope so, but as I always said, you know, for a drug to come into the market, you need many years. I mean, even if it's a free drugs, you need 20 years, 30 years, I don't know. And with nanomedicine, some people say, yeah, but there is so many clinical trials on nanomedicine and nothing came up. This is not true. I mean, you have on the market, I mean, Doxil, 30 years now that is in the market for breast cancer. And then, as I told you, the COVID vaccine, in 1 year, they came to the market. So I think it's a problem of money for research. You know, if you have a lot of money, you can do a research and go very fast, like it happened with the COVID vaccine. And from now, I hope that nanomedicine will come to the market. And you have Patty Saran, like 3 or 4 years ago with for this amyloidosis disease. So it can slower than the other drugs, but it can. And I think my personal opinion is that in the future we will have many drugs with nanomedicine. But this is my personal opinion.
Do you think that it is our job as scientists to educate the policymakers in order to bring on the surface how nanomedicine is going to change medicine right now?
I think you are totally right. And for instance, you said in the beginning that I am the president of EUFEPS, and the next meeting will be in Lisbon. And in this meeting, I have arranged a roundtable with policymakers, you know, that they will be there and they will discuss what we need and what we should do to convince them that nanomedicine is it's the future. I mean, of therapy, you know. So you are completely, and I think also we have to educate or divulgate what we are doing to the society also, you know, and because at the end it's the society who give you the money by paying taxes. And so when you get a project, it's on the society, and I think we have to give it back. And personally, I'm doing a lot of divulgation in hospitals, in schools, in the patient for patients, because I really think we have to do that. We earn this to the society and also to the policymakers. I'm trying. I mean, from my modest position to convince them that nanomedicine is the future in many diseases. And it's not me only. I mean, the regulatory, the policymakers. Now, of course, now you have to convince them that it's the drug and it's the nanoparticle. So there is two things that you have to convince them. But I think we are in the right way, you know. I think you are in the right way. And now when you go I mean, last week I was in a school, and when you ask the kids that they were 11 years old, you know what is nanomedicine? And everybody knows. If we go back 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 4 years, nobody knew what is nanomedicine. And now everybody knows, and everybody thinks that this is the future, at least where I give talks and so on.
This is great what you say. I mean, in the past few years, people more and more learn about nanomedicine, and nanomedicine right now doesn't seem like an alien thing that it was a few years ago. But still, I know that there are questions about if the health systems are ready to adopt such approaches, or about safety of nanomedicine. Do you think that this is going to be issue? Because as you said before, the nanocarriers that were used in COVID-19 vaccines, they raised a lot of controversy to the society about how safe it was.
Yes, but I think my personal opinion is, I mean, the society knows now, that most of the society, maybe not all, but that if we didn't get these vaccines, we will be in a very big trouble with this COVID virus, you know. But I agree with you that some people still to think that nanoparticles are toxic. For instance, the other day, one colleague asked me that, you know, I have read that nanomedicine, nanoparticles can go through the nose and be very toxic for the brain and so on. So I think we have to educate this person, and to tell them what is the benefit and the toxicity. And for instance, in my case, what I do all the time in vivo is to show in animal models that they are not toxic, because we are using polymers, lipids, that they are safe for humans. So the only thing we have to do now for society is to educate and to divulgate that the toxicity is very low, and the benefit. If you put toxicity and benefit, I think benefit is here and toxicity is here. But this we have to communicate, and to know how to convince the people that.
Plus, everything, as you said before, it's like 20 to 30 years for a drug to come out. So there has been so much testing behind all these nanocarriers. So it is pretty impossible that it is going to be a toxic thing causing trouble because of toxicity to the person that is using this.
Yes, I am fully convinced. The only thing is now that we have to convince the others. That is...
I think we are on the way.
Yes, for sure.
So thank you very much for the interesting conversation that we had. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. I have one last question for you. What do you think of the ANGIE project? I mean, we came in contact because of the ANGIE project. And what was the one thing that intrigued you to say yes and becoming an external expert in our project?
Yes, what I like it from this project is the challenge. The aim is to treat this stroke by nanomedicine or micro robots. And I thought, this is interesting. And if they get it, it will be great. So I was curious to know what happened with this project. And it's the thing that brought me to say yes, because to treat a stroke is not an easy thing. And with nanomedicine, it will be not easy. So let's see what happened in the project and let's see the results. But I think it's a very, very interesting project that you have in mind. Yes, for sure.
And in the next month, I'm pretty sure that we're going to have some results to share. Exactly. So in our next meeting that we all are going to have in the ANGIE project, maybe we can share a few things about how our experiments are going.
Yeah, I am looking for. Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you everyone for listening, and tune in for the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.